All right, we're 2 for 2, guys. It's going to be tough to get your biggest takeaway because we got more coming. We got great guests today. Way to spend our Friday. We got Matt Rosenthal here, and CEO and president of Mindcore, which is right up your alley, Mikey Mumola. This is going to throw your mind way off. Matty has to unmute himself. I can see that on there. We'll save him the embarrassment that I get every day when I'm doing a keynote speech with the microphone muted. It's a great illustration of the fine professionalism that I have. Matt, welcome to Office Hours.
Hey, how are you guys? Good morning.
It was such a pleasure to have you. Give us an idea about Mindcore. You know, all of us are introspective believers and practitioners, and so we were super interested in what you're doing.
Yeah, thanks. I appreciate it. So Mindcore is, in the simplest terms, we're an IT consulting company. We solve people's IT problems, right? So we hear that from a lot of people. My approach has been, and I built the business on being a strategist, right? An IT strategist and a business strategist. So it's a trusted advisor relationship. It's guidance, knowledge, experience, and really getting to know the customer and like what their needs really are. And then saying, hey, what makes the most sense for your business? Like, how do we actually solve your problems and deliver outcomes that actually impact the business? Right. So I'm in a space that's commoditized traditionally. For me, it's really been this like from the heart desire to serve people. So I connect with people on that level, and so all of our customers and the people that we work with, it's beyond like, hey, we just solve your IT problems. It really becomes like I'm at the table at the executive meetings, like having conversations where I understand your business so well that I can say, well, there's a risk here, or there's something we should look at here, budget, strategy. And then, yeah, we'll engineer solutions and we'll solve your problems. If you need cloud, fine, cloud is the answer. If you need cybersecurity, let's have that conversation. But the people that we help, they really genuinely want to look at us as somebody that's actually helping them make their business better, right? And so I actually will meet with people and we'll say, like, I want to work with you. It feels like it could be a good opportunity for us to help you. But if I don't feel like we can help them because they're not on board with like receiving our help, I usually pass on it. So it really is, yes, we solve IT problems, but we've got to connect and we've got to really want to work together. And that's where it is for us.
Would it be fair to say, and I wanted you to come on because I was studying Mindcore technologies, the IT, and kind of trying to understand the intricacies of how this all works. And I came up with the realization that IT itself, as you are a strategist, like anyone else, as a consultant and advisor, is a consciousness. It's actually the collective consciousness of your business. And when you start running parallels of technology in the universe and understanding and awareness, when I listen to you talk and I do research on your company, I really can't help but to think that you're kind of a guru of a consciousness, and you turn away business. You literally are saying, what collective consciousness do you want for your business, and I'll effectuate the best tools in order to expedite and to secure and all those things. Is that a fair assessment? And if so, how do you relate to that?
That's the best question I've been asked by anybody. I do a lot of podcasts. Listen, I wake up. Here's the reason. I wake up and meditate every day. I've gone through my own experience in life of awareness and mindfulness. And for me, it's like I live in a space of gratitude and appreciation. But that was a lifelong journey. I'm almost 48. That was a journey, man. You go through your stuff, right? You fail, you fall on your face. We all have trauma and drama, right? So yeah, I do bring it to my business. My business is me. It's an extension of my personality, my behavior, my beliefs, and the people that I hire and bring into my company to work there, to be part of the team. We have to have that shared mindset, or you can't even work in my company. And it really does come from this place of you've got to want to, from the heart, from a place of true meaning, want to serve and help people. So yeah, it's very much about that. And so I can feel when I meet somebody, if it just doesn't feel right, if the vibe doesn't feel right, if it's an opportunity, we're talking about business, I'll respectfully pass on it, and I'll respectfully say, hey, you know what, maybe somebody else can help you, because I could just feel we're not going to connect and they're not going to really receive my help openly, So I'm a very, very spiritual guy. I'm not religious, but I'm spiritual. And that meditation and a mindfulness, man, you just know when you connect with somebody, and if the relationship is just going to work, you just know. And so many of my clients, like I have one of the largest PR firms in the country. We've been doing their IT for like 12 or 13 years. They want me every few weeks around the table with them, like having real conversations, and they really care and they really listen and we really connect. And I've helped them build their company from 10 people to 100 people. New York, LA, like that's a level of trust that it goes beyond we just solve IT problems. It's really spiritual,
That's
Hopefully
amazing. That's amazing. Getting to a point in your career, and this is probably back into the early days of my legal career, one of the reasons why I could never be a public defender, even though I wanted to help people, right? Because it was situations where there were certain cases that may come that didn't align with who I was as a person, both here spiritually, and I can't choose, right, to say no. Later in my career, when I became a private defense attorney, there were cases I could take and not take. And now in business, we decided to do business with the folks that we connect with, that we align with. And it's a great feeling. And there's a lot of young entrepreneurs that are so focused on revenue and making money that they sometimes get away from their actual mission that they started the company for to begin with. So how has the ability and staying true and consistent to the type of folks that you want to do business with, how has that benefited your business bottom line, right? Because we're all about making money at one point, but also making it with the right people. So how has that impacted you?
So I made a choice along the way. I've done a few acquisitions over the years, and that's been where most of my growth has come from. I made a choice over the years to pivot to a place where I'm comfortable and totally at peace with being a boutique company. I met with somebody yesterday about doing another deal just to grow, but at the end of the day, even that, if the owner of that company isn't going to match up culturally with how I feel things should be, I'll walk away from it. So my bottom line in my business, it's kind of embarrassing. In our business, the margins, good margins are like 15%. I run it like 25 or 30. And the reason is because I've controlled the size of the company and walked away from things that typically, if they don't feel right, they're not right. And so most of the people in my business, they'll take anything. And taking anything lowers your margins because the noise it creates and the drama it creates, it's the wrong thing to do. So I've intentionally pivoted along the way to staying, I say small, but staying at a size that allows me to maintain the culture, the beliefs, and the values that we have and that I have. And I'm okay with it. It's okay. And so my margins are really healthy. And I'm in a business where I pivoted to cloud about 9 years ago. I built my own cloud in a data center in New Jersey, which I still have. And now we're in Amazon. So I have both. But so I'm fortunate to be in a business where those margins are very high. So profits are great there. But I still keep the business at a size that's manageable for me and the people that assist me in managing it. And margins stay really healthy. If I feel like I'm gonna lose that feeling and that the values that guide us, I think I'd walk away. I would go do something else. I mean, I'm beginning. On a side note, I opened up an office in South Florida, which is where I am now. And what I'm doing here is kind of leaving all the services out of the conversation. I'm just straight up mentoring, just giving guidance to business owners. I've made so many mistakes, and there's value in that. So that makes me feel good that I can just give somebody advice. I don't care if it's free. I'll give somebody advice. And the fact that I've just helped them and there's an actual impact to that person and they don't have to fall on their face and make that mistake, I'm fine being that small and having 10 clients that I just give advice to. Like, it's okay with me because I got to feel good inside. It stopped being about the money a long time ago. Nice. When you make enough money, you really could, and you mature and become a mature business owner. And if you're mindful enough, the money doesn't matter. It doesn't bring any happiness whatsoever. Had the cars, had the houses, it's all, you gotta feel happy in your heart every day. And so that's the margins are there. I'm happy. And if I need to shrink the size of the company, I would.
Matt, I agree with you. I think, first of all, good morning. Nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you.
I think so many people focus on the money specifically as the barometer for success or failure, right? And you have to, like you said, go through certain things. And for you, like me, it involved meditation and mindfulness to recognize these things, to get back to a place of recognizing there are other values of exchange. There are ways of providing value to people and to your life, in addition to money. Dave brought out, the consciousness and the spirituality of what you're doing, which I think dead on as always. It's, it's really powerful, either in that context or, specifically in IT. What's the biggest problem that you think people have that they don't know they have? Like with you, before you reach that level of, use the word enlightenment, what's that biggest obstacle or the biggest, things that either slow people down or stop them from getting to those next stages of development, in your opinion?
So other business owners, what?
Yeah.
In the context of that, I think that
people in any state, whether the people that you do business with or people that own any type of business, for sure.
Yeah, I think that unfortunately, oftentimes, too often, ego gets in the way. So you kind of have these blinders on, and you are not able to see like what's in your blind spots. And if you just would open up your mind a little bit and be aware that there's a lot that you don't see. I find that the best leaders actually have the ability to see what other people don't see. I don't know if it's something if you could teach people that, or if you're born with that. I came from a very, very poor upbringing, and I had to figure it out. I had to make my way. I mean, really poor, living off the government. And for me, it gave me the ability to actually see all these. I drive people around me nuts. The things that I see wrong and the things that I can spot that nobody else sees. It's probably from the way that I grew up, but maybe I adapted. But business owners and people that I come across they'll tell me stories about, yeah, I'm having a problem with this or that. And I'm like, wait, have you thought about just doing this or that, or moving this piece or moving that piece?
Changing, yeah.
No, it never occurred to me.
Right.
So
and now that's, the blind spots. And now taking that question as it applies specifically to IT, so the people that you're doing business with, because everybody on here owns businesses. They all have problems with their IT that they probably don't know about. What's the number one thing that they should identify and come to somebody like you for?
The biggest thing that I see with people is that they're so focused on saving money and looking at technology as just an expense, a line item, that they don't actually stop and do a risk assessment to see where all the gaps, where all the holes are in their organization. And it could be productivity wise, could be the wrong CRM, could be cybersecurity, which is probably number one on the list. They could have a tremendous amount of risk there. And this is common, the most common. People are, even larger companies, it doesn't matter. They're so focused on this old school thinking of technology just being an expense, rather than looking at technology as actually the best place to invest your money if you want to grow the business. And so it prevents them from actually bringing somebody in like me at times and saying, hey, you know what? Tell me what's wrong. Sit down at the table and tell me what we can do better. Tell me where we're losing time, which equates to losing money and productivity, and connect it to our technology. Like, what can we do better? People don't really ask me that question. I usually have to go in there and kind of pry it out of them by asking salesy questions and leading them to conclusions so they finally realize, wow, you're telling me that if our servers go down tomorrow, we're not going to be back up for a week? Well, what is that? How could that be possible? That's what happens. And I'm like, no, it is possible. How fast do you want to get back up and running? Fine, let's solve that problem, but you have to make an investment. They're afraid to spend money, and they're afraid to ask the questions because it equates to spending money.
Just to finish up, and Matt, I love the way that you take a common technological business that's been around for 20 years since I started in the industry in a variety of ways, from switching over people in Y2K was, the original surge of IT consultants as we were scared to death of DOS. And I'm still a big fan of WordPerfect 5.1, not to age myself. I think it's one of the best word processors ever created on a computer. But at a higher level, what you're talking about is your perspective of gratitude. And let me explain real quick before I let you go. When you have a gracious perspective, you're looking for the light, the love, and the lessons in everything. And if we see our IT as an expense, then it becomes a shortage of void and obstacle and interference or corrosion to that profit, which is the potential of our business is its profit, because the profit allows us to have the impact. In that respect, I encourage everyone, whether it be your IT or any part of business that you're dealing with, is to take that gracious lens and look at it as one thing, a profit center. If you can't figure out how your phone system, how your servers, how your connectivity, how an employee is a profit center for you, as you said, it doesn't matter how many people you have. You can acquire as many big businesses as you want. I've done it in the past, paid the dummy tax for it. I've created situations where I was making 20% margins, bought the company and dropped myself down to 6%, and all I got was overhead and employees. Not fun. But when I learned to have that lens of gratitude combined with productivity and accessibility and find the light, the love, and the lessons, which is profit, which leads to impact, that's what really shifted the paradigm for my business. And I encourage everyone out there to contact Matt if you can about these, whether it's him or someone else, to find that alignment. But find the profit centers first within your business. Don't see them as shortages, voids, and obstacles like most people do. Don't bring fear and resistance into an area that can be profitable for you. That's what Mindcore means to me, that collective consciousness. And you are an extraordinary example as leader, as we talked about earlier with BK. Sometimes you need someone to show you where you can go or pass there. That's what Matt Rosenthal is in Mindcore Technology. So really thank you for setting off our end of week show with such a bang. 3 for 3, guys. That's all. Thank Matt for coming on. Thank you so much.
Awesome. Thank you. Appreciate it, guys.
Talk to you soon. All right. Taking the basics, Mindcore Technology, and bringing it to another level.